to say something at the beginning of this episode that I want you to actually let in, not just hearing it as background while you go about your day, but actually taking time to listen. And here it is. You still have something. I know that might not feel true right now. In fact, for some of you, hearing that might actually stir something uncomfortable, a kind of resistance, or even a quiet grief, because a part of you has been living as though it isn't true, as though the delay meant it's too late, as though the failure meant you weren't enough. I want to spend today's episode sitting with that belief, turning it over, examining it, and seeing where it came from, and beginning gently to dismantle it. The lie that says you've missed your moment is one of the most persistent lies a person can carry, and it's worth the effort to challenge it. So welcome back to Clean Slate. We are 3 episodes in now. And in episode 1, we talked about the power of an honest starting point, naming where you are actually at. In episode 2, we got into the weight of unprocessed pain and why it keeps people stuck even when they are desperate to move forward. So in today's episode, we go a layer deeper into the belief about the self that forms when someone has been carrying all of that for a long time. The belief that says, I no longer have what it takes. Maybe I have missed my time, I've missed my moment. Nobody wakes up one day and decides to stop believing in themselves. It doesn't happen that way. It happens gradually, slowly, through accumulated experience, through disappointment after disappointment that your mind trying to protect you from. You begin to interpret it as pattern. You tried something and it didn't work. You tried again and it still didn't work. You watched someone else try the same thing. Someone who from the outside seemed no more capable than you are. And possibly they succeeded. And something in you filled that away. Not as timing is different for different people, but as though they have something that you don't. And over time, that story gets reinforced. Every rejection, every setback, every moment you compare your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel, it adds another brick to the wall of that belief that you specifically have something missing. But a story told enough times starts to feel like a fact, and the story about your inadequacy has been told enough. Here's what it gets particularly painful for most people. Their sense of worth got tangled up somewhere along the way with their performance. When things were going well, they felt valuable. And when things were not going well, they felt worthless. And so they developed a relationship with achievement that was less about joy and more about evidence. Evidence that they mattered. Evidence that they were enough. Evidence that they weren't falling behind. And then life happened, as it does, and the performance dipped or stopped entirely. And without that external evidence, without the achievement to point to, They were left standing in a very uncomfortable silence because they defined themselves with their success. And in that silence, the question, who am I if I am not succeeding, comes up. And here is the truth. Your worth was never meant to be something you earned. It was always something you carried. I want to reframe something that I think has done a lot of damage to a lot of people. The idea that delay is evidence of inadequacy. Just because you haven't gotten to point B in someone else's timeline does not mean you are not enough. That where you are in life at this specific moment says something definitive about your potential. That the timeline someone else is on is the timeline you were supposed to be on. That if it hasn't happened yet, whatever it is, it's because there's something wrong with you. That cannot be further from the truth. Here's what I know to be true, and what history supports over and over again. Some of the most significant, most meaningful things in people's lives and in the world, they came late. Success can come late in other people's perspectives. They came slowly. They came after failure. They came after what looked from the outside like the story was over. Delay is not disqualification. Delay is often development. The shaping that could only happen through the waiting. A seed planted in winter doesn't bloom in winter, but that doesn't mean it isn't growing. So I want to do something just a little bit different right now. Instead of taking stock of what's gone, what's been lost, or what's broken or what's missed, I want to invite you to notice what remains, what you have in your hand right now. Because here's the truth. Even after everything, you still have things that matter. You still have the capacity to think, to feel, to try, to hope, even if that hope is small and fragile right now. You have lived experience that nobody else has. That includes the painful parts, yes, but also the wisdom that only comes from going through something real. You have relationships, even if some are complicated. You have time, even if it feels like you have lost some. You have this moment and the choice of what to do in it. You are not starting from zero. You are starting from experience. That is not nothing. That is significant. So I want you to take a minute right now or sometime today and write down 3 things that you still know that are true about you. Not what you have achieved, not what you've worked on or you are working towards, just what still is real and present and is still yours. Just 3 things. The deepest work of rebuilding, and this is the work that takes time, often the help of a counselor or a trusted community, is the work of learning to separate who you are from what has happened to you. Your circumstances are real. They matter, but they do not define the sum of what you are. Your delays are real. They hurt, but they do not determine your ceiling. Your failures, yes, they're real. They costed something, but They are not your identity. You are more than the worst things that have happened to you. You are more than the chapter you are in right now. You are more than your current circumstances would suggest. The person you are becoming is being shaped in very season that you are tempted to despise. Here's what I want to leave with you today. You still have something. I said this at the beginning, and I want to say it again now, not as a slogan, but as something I actually want you to sit down with. The world may not have confirmed it for you yet. Your circumstances may not reflect it yet. Your own heart may struggle to believe it on a given Tuesday, Monday morning when everything feels like it's too much. But it is still true. Something is still there, still worth tending, still capable of growing, and it's still yours. So in our next episode, we're going to begin talking about the practical side of moving forward. Not rushing past any healing, but beginning to make intentional, gentle movements again. What it looks like to take one honest step in a direction that it is actually yours. If you found something useful in today's episode, please share it with someone who is in the process of losing or who has already lost their sense of what they still carry. They need to hear it. Thank you once again for joining me and being a part of this extraordinary journey. My name is Maente Skosana, and I will see you in the next episode.